I'm Just Saying is sponsored by Zone Delivery USA. Fresh, healthy meals delivered to your door. For more information, go to zonedeliveryusa.com. Hover.com. Go to gfq.hover.com and get 10% off your entire purchase. And by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook by going to audiblepodcast.com/GFQ. Hey everyone, welcome to I'm Just Saying week 51.
51.
We're old.
We are old.
Not like you, Joanna. A pleasant 32.
A pleasant 32.
For Joanna.
I think I like that.
A pleasant 32. Lon is a pleasant
114.
140. I was going to say 140. We were close, Lon. How's everything?
I said 14, and you still had to be insulting.
I haven't seen Joanna in 2 weeks. Last week
That's
we took
right.
off for President's Day.
That's right.
We observed President's Day here at the GFK Network.
Go Millard Fillmore.
Yeah.
Who love him?
In your opinion, the most underrated president?
Underrated?
Underrated.
President?
Anything like... There's like a whole group of them, which...
That no one ever talks
Ag
about.
is very excited about the presidency.
Yes.
There's a whole group that was one after another that nobody talks about.
Yeah, like
Polk,
Buchanan,
yeah.
Pierce,
Millard Fillmore.
Fillmore, yeah. See,
McKinley.
Grover Cleveland. He was president twice, not 8 years in a row.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we never talk about these people.
see. I think we should. You know what we should do? Acknowledge a forgotten president.
Okay.
Wasn't Polk like one of the worst presidents ever? But how do you determine that from 200 years ago? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Well,
it's
in some
usually
ways
about what legislation was passed in their time, what land was, especially in the first half of the presidency, the number of states that came into the union, the land that was amassed by the country, that sort of thing.
I judge it by lack of slaves.
Lack
If you
of
didn't have a
slaves.
slave and you were a president of this country, you're a good guy.
Well, after a certain point, none of them had slaves.
Yeah, very quickly people didn't have slaves.
But they did for a huge time, right?
Yeah,
they did for some period.
Yeah, they did.
I still think they do. I think it's a big conspiracy. Charlie Sheen is involved. It's a whole thing going on.
Absolutely.
Charlie Sheen has slaves?
I think Charlie Sheen is the slave to
Oh.
this thing called a country, Joanna.
Oh, I see.
Let's get back to Charlie later. Let
Yeah.
us stew our thoughts.
Poor
Did you watch
Charlie.
the Academy Awards?
No.
You know, a lot of people
No.
didn't. A lot of
No
people
interest.
didn't. It's the gay Super Bowl. I don't know why you wouldn't watch.
Well, I watched the Grammys.
Mm-hmm. So did we. I watched the Grammys. Well, we were. You and I were making notes on
actually
Facebook
watched
all night.
The Grammys, or part of the Grammys, for the first time in years. I mean, I don't like most of the most popular music now, so I don't really watch the Grammys. But they had some good people on this time, so.
I don't know. What'd you think?
The
Of the
Oscars?
Yeah.
It was dull.
The Oscars was dull, but
was
the
dull.
Oscars is never good. You know, that's the thing that I think is that someone is looking for some sort of Oscars that's going to be just rip-roaringly, interesting and entertaining. And I don't think the Oscars have ever been great. There have always been great moments in the Oscars, but
Right.
the Oscar is an entire evening.
Not so good.
It's like going to a wedding reception. You know what I mean? There are moments of the wedding reception is really good, and other moments are like, oh man.
Well, look, I mean,
Iceberg
there are
lettuce
just
again.
so many awards, and let's be honest, a lot of the awards most people don't care about, or don't really, unless you're really a movie person, don't really even understand what they are. So people want to watch because they want to see the stars.
Well,
they
they're
wanna
making the
see-
dresses more of a big deal. When the
Yes.
outfits are more of a big deal than the actual award ceremony, I think
Yes.
there's a problem.
Well, there is a problem, and it's no fun anymore because the outfits used to be bad.
They used to be
people-
They used to be more like
used to-
costumes
Yeah.
as opposed to dressing well. Now it's like
Or some people just didn't know how to dress.
now everybody has a stylist and everybody looks good and everybody has
Right.
white teeth.
I mean, does anybody, do you remember what Marlee Matlin looked like the year she won?
I do actually. I remember.
Yeah, I'm sure.
do you know who Marlee Matlin
Do you even know who
is?
she is?
Not a clue.
She's the deaf girl that won for Children of a Lesser God.
Yeah.
Not a clue.
Yeah.
You don't know who Marlee
No,
Matlin
no clue.
is?
No clue.
Oh yeah.
I don't
She
watch
actually
film.
was really good.
Well, she worked, actually, she does a lot of television now.
You know what's interesting? What I'm noticing now. By the way, I love your shirt.
Thank you.
Love the shirt.
That's from the
Isn't that-
Electric
it's
Pear
from the
Theater
Electric
Company.
Pear Theater Company.
Love it.
We participate in their trivia contests.
Do you?
2
Yes.
or 3 times.
I think it's really cool. I noticed that in films from like the early '90s on, you'll notice the yellow teeth.
Yes.
Oh,
Something
yeah.
you never see. And
no.
I don't know what movie it was. I was watching a movie and the actress had horrible teeth. God, what was it? I don't know what it was. It was a famous actress. You know what it was? In Groundhog's Day. Who was the girl that played?
Annie McDowell?
Yeah. She had horrible teeth.
Well, because she had normal teeth.
Normal teeth. Well,
Nobody's
I have
teeth are-
really good teeth.
Nobody's teeth are normal anymore.
I have really good teeth.
But your teeth, I mean, you even make to whiten them. Like people use whitening
Yeah.
toothpaste.
Everybody
Those
does.
didn't exist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't exist. I mean, people just everyone. In fact, some people's teeth, I'm sorry, are too white. They're blinding.
I'm getting my teeth whitened soon. Probably next month.
Why?
Because I want to glow. I want it to be so white it glows in the dark.
That's ridiculous.
It's my goal. My goal in life, Joe.
To be ridiculous?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Then you're doing well.
But I noticed it and I find it really interesting. I'm like, nobody ever noticed that before. Nobody ever said, wow, she has bad teeth.
Well, no, because there was nothing you
It's
could
normal.
do about it. Women all had natural breasts.
Oh, that's out the window.
Yeah, that's totally out the window. But yes, Marlee Matlin, who won an Oscar, I believe, in the 80s for...
Children of a Lesser God.
I think maybe the only deaf person to ever win an Oscar.
Yep.
She came, and she was a pretty young thing. She was about 19 years old at the time, 20 years old. She came wearing something that looked like a house dress. Her hair was not even combed. She had like stuck it in a clip, and wearing these hideous like black framed eyeglasses.
Wow.
She looked like a homeless person. But that's what used to be fun. Just because they're actresses doesn't mean they know how to dress themselves. A lot of them don't. But now they have
Well, no
stylists.
one heard her say. Well, she didn't hear anyone say you look terrible.
Yeah, that's true. Now they all have stylists, so they all look too
Everybody,
good.
yeah.
It's
I have a stylist.
It's ridiculous.
Even the Grammys this year, people were dressed well. There were no like cutout things, no like Little Kim kind of outfits.
I mean, where is Sasheen Littlefeather when you need her?
Okay, you're gonna throw another one at me.
No
doesn't it?
clue.
No clue.
Not a
She's
clue.
the Native
Okay,
American girl.
Absolutely famous Oscar incident when, what's his name?
Marlon
Brando won the Oscar for The Godfather.
Yeah.
He was very political at the time. And
Instead of very fat.
yes, instead of very fat, he was very political. And he refused to go to the Oscars, and he refused
Because the way Native Americans were treated by this
Are
country.
you kidding me?
No, oh no. So this Indian girl, Sasheen Littlefeather,
Yeah.
in complete in Native American garb, came up
To not accept the
accept the
That's
Oscar.
brilliant. That is brilliant.
Oh yeah. See, great stuff like that used to happen.
I have a nickname for Brando, but Double B. Bloated Brando. I'm like, oh, Double B's in that movie.
Or the year that streaking was a fad. Do you know what streaking was?
Yes, when
Yeah.
you get naked and you run.
Right.
Yes, okay.
I am old enough to know what streaking means.
Okay.
Well, streaking had its first thing in the 73, 74.
Yes.
In that time.
And
Because music was so bad, people just stripped naked and ran through the
that's probably true.
streets.
1974.
1974. By the way, check
That's
out the
funny.
top 40. The worst year of music ever.
So,
Not that there weren't good things, but overall, terrible year.
Terrible.
So on the Oscars that year,
Dave-
David Niven, who do you
no
know-
clue.
You don't know who David?
I
Niven
don't know who
was?
these old people are, Joanna.
Moses.
Watch a movie. Watch a movie. Hello.
Who's Moses?
Yeah,
Who's that?
exactly.
David Niven was a fabulous British actor.
Actually, the very first person to play James Bond.
Yes, extremely
Elegant.
elegant and sophisticated. And he was on the stage about to present one of the big awards, Best Picture, or one of the big awards.
This should be a YouTube of it. Look it up.
I'm sure there is. And a guy who snuck in the theater managed to streak across
Oh,
the
that's
stage,
great.
and it came through live. And David Niven stood on stage completely nonplussed and said, well, isn't it sad that the most famous thing that the thing that young man will be the most famous for is showing us all his shortcomings?
And went on.
And just went on.
That's great.
But like stuff like that used to happen.
Now they don't.
Cher used to show up in an outfit that Cher would wear. You know
right,
what I mean?
in some sort of Indian
Well,
headdress.
doesn't Lady Gaga do that now? Shows up in an
Yeah.
egg.
But what I'm saying
Well,
is there were 4
Cher-
or 5 people like that.
Yes, Cher used to show up at the Oscars like that.
One year, the big controversy in the Grammys was that Simon and Garfunkel showed up wearing tuxedos and sneakers. That
Isn't
was
that
like
something?
ooh.
Isn't that something, though?
But they were also stoned out of their face.
That's true too.
Yeah.
People used to come to the Grammys stoned. I mean, visibly stoned.
Yeah, incoherent acceptance speeches.
Yeah, totally incoherent
Completely.
acceptance speeches.
Now it's all very staid, you know.
Everyone's like, even people who will be stoned the moment after it's over, attempt to be coherent on the show. No one even attempted to be coherent at that point.
I want to
Pretty
take this
funny.
moment and thank our sponsor, Zone Delivery USA. I am down.
Andrew,
over
where
20
are you?
I'm gone.
Where are you?
I've melted.
Andrew is
right?
melting.
I'm gone. I'm down over 20 pounds. I'm not too sure exactly, so I'm not going to lie, but over 20 pounds. I've lost weight, and I'm not starving myself. I'm still eating 3 meals, 2 snacks a day with Zone. Freshly prepared. Everything is fresh. Everything is well done. And you can get started too. I mean, this is the best way to give yourself that boost that you need to start losing weight. You go to zonedeliveryusa.com right now and sign up for a fresh and healthy life. Back to you.
Way to
Back to
go,
me.
Andrew.
Back to me. So, you didn't watch the Oscars? Well,
No,
it
but
was-
I know that they came out in drag, right?
Well, James Franco.
James
Well,
Franco.
well,
Yeah.
she was wearing a tux too,
Yeah.
so I suppose it is drag.
And that was their big thing. What happened with the King's speech? Something about the King's speech?
nothing.
I don't know. Did
They
they
won.
win? They won.
They won. Everybody expected them to win, and they win. That was part of it too. There were no surprises. Everybody who they thought would win.
The
won.
biggest loser was True Grit, 0 for 10.
Yeah,
That's happened before.
that has happened before.
Kirk Douglas came out and oh my God,
He
wasn't
was
that
great.
Oh, he was funny,
great.
though.
He was
oh my
great.
God.
I mean, he's you know.
He still has
100
comic timing.
Oh
He's
my
92.
Put Kirk Douglas and what's his name? The countdown guy.
Casey Kasem.
No, the guy that does the New Year's thing. That can
Oh,
barely-
Dick Clark.
Oh,
Dick
Dick
Clark.
Clark.
Put Dick Clark and Kurt Douglas in the same room and watch them talk to each other. That's all I'm saying. Greatest conversation in the world. Nobody knew what the hell he was saying, Kirk Douglas.
Oh no, you could.
The person that he said won
Mm-hmm.
had no idea. They had to like nudge her so she could say like, "Oh, I won."
Well-
she had no clue.
Well, because his his.
And then she
speech
got
stuff.
that person who won got up on stage and cursed.
And
Th- th-
she
that
at
is
least
what she
dropped
did.
the F bomb. That
Yeah,
was amusing.
Melissa Leo dropped the
Yeah.
F bomb. She was great.
That was amusing.
There was a lot of controversy about Melissa Leo getting the Oscar because a few weeks going into it, there was all this scuttlebutt about how she was basically lobbying for herself.
Yeah.
And you don't do that for yourself. You let your agent or the movie that you're in.
Yeah,
That kind
except her film did not have the budget the Black Swan did.
Oh, absolutely.
So she didn't have anybody to do it for her, like Natalie Portman, who shouldn't have won.
Okay, we've discussed. I think did we do it on your show? I don't know if we spoke about it. Jessica saw the Black Swan, and she said she loved the movie until the ending because the ending made no sense. When she and I don't know if I spoiled it on this, and I'm sorry, I'm going to spoil it for everybody. I don't care. She stabs herself. And she goes out and she does this beautiful performance.
Right.
And then she collapses, right?
Right.
And I'm thinking maybe it's a metaphor for something. But no, she bleeds out. She's dying while she's dancing.
Yes.
That is not possible. That is not possible
Right.
ever. Nowhere is that possible.
It didn't invest itself enough in either the surreal or the real.
Exactly.
That was
it
its
didn't
biggest
mean
problem.
anything. I thought it was like some kind of meaning. It meant nothing.
No, it
she
didn't
was
mean-
she was a nutcase, and Jessica
She
says
was
it was a great
crazy.
movie. And somebody came up to her and said, and that she works with, she goes, "You wouldn't understand. You're not an actor." And she goes, "Okay, you're an actor. Explain it to me." And they had no explanation. They go, "Well, she died." He goes, "Yes, but how was she able to dance for that long? How was she able to do this beautiful performance while she's dying?" And they had no answer.
I think we're supposed to think that
It's
she
a metaphor.
is bleeding slowly, and her adrenaline in that moment carries her through the performance, which might be possible depending on the nature of your wound. Adrenaline can definitely carry you through a lot. I mean, I know that I have given performances a couple of times when I was really sick.
ADS in our chat room says it's open for interpretation. It could have all been her inner imagination, but no, I don't think it was.
No,
she
I
dies in
think
the.
It relied too much on. Yeah,
dies.
It
I think she dies.
It banks too much on reality when it wants to be real, and it banks too much on surrealism when it wants to be surreal. It didn't. You know, we were talking about how.
I don't know if she does. By the way, I have no clue. I never saw the movie. I'm just going based
just
on what I
crap.
think.
Okay.
I pretty much thought she died. Yeah,
I don't know,
I
but
thought
she
that.
won.
Well,
Natalie Portman won.
she did. Not deserved.
Not deserved.
No,
Not
there
at
are there are three or four performances. Listen,
There were
let's stop right there.
several-
She was very good for what she had and how she was directed. She was very good. I think there were better performances this year.
Yes, definitely.
We actually, since we've seen you last, saw a movie that had a performance in it that wasn't nominated, though Roger Ebert said this woman should be nominated.
What movie was it?
Not only nominated, she
Probably
should've
should have won.
Yeah.
And this is after I said that I thought
a movie-
Jennifer Lawrence from Winter's Bone should have won,
Yeah.
who was amazing.
Amazing. A woman named Leslie Manville. She's a British actress. It's a British film called Another Year.
It was nominated for Best Original Screenplay, which it did not win. King's Speech did.
Yeah,
We
that's
saw
right.
it Saturday,
I thought it was wonderful.
and we were just going, "Oh my
And
God,
she
why
was
wasn't this woman nominated?"
amazing.
She was
just
insanely
amazing.
good.
Just amazing.
I'm looking at some pictures. I never thought Scarlett Johansson was that. She wasn't my type, but I think she's extremely attractive. I don't know. Maybe my taste has changed.
I thought she looked terrible last night.
You think so?
Yes, horrible.
Well, maybe that's why I
Who?
like her.
Who did?
Scarlett Johansson.
I thought she looked terrible.
Her
Yeah.
dress was nice.
I
That
didn't
was
like the dress.
Her table? It looked like a tablecloth.
Yeah, look at the
I like
tablecloth.
it.
Look like a grandmother's lace tablecloth made into a dress.
I'm looking at who else.
I mean, she's
deserves-
she's a nice looking girl, but you know,
I don't know. I don't know too many people that were a buzz for the event.
Listen, I think another thing was the big controversy over the hosts because they were trying to young it up
Yes.
by having
Yeah.
James Franco
and very honestly, you need a comedian or someone like that
To do this,
this. They need to keep it moving. It is long and it does drag, and you need somebody who can come
Well,
out
it started at
those
9, right?
8:30.
8:30. Okay.
You need someone who can come out at those moments and make a quip, make a joke, off the cuff to kept people's energy back up. And you didn't have that with them. It's not their fault. They're actors. They're not comedians. They're not talk show hosts. They're actors.
Why did they go with them? I don't understand why they went with them.
Because they wanted to get a younger demographic.
So you got a younger comedian.
Well, that's what I don't understand.
Okay, but
also,
but at the same time, you have to find someone that has appeal to the new demographic that you're going for and the old demographic that's established. It's very difficult to do. Like who would have been like their Ricky Gervais is not an Oscars person because the Oscars are too staid.
well, what
You know
about
I mean?
someone they've never asked? Jay Leno.
Well, you know what the problem is? I think everybody wants to be this cutting edge thing like the MTV Awards.
And it's not.
I think the MTV Awards have ruined these other shows because you're expecting the F-bomb like that actress did. You're expecting all this outrageous stuff, and you'll never get that on primetime TV on one of the
No.
national broadcasting companies.
plus,
NBC or ABC or whatever, because that's not that crowd. That's not what it is. You need to have some sort of sophistication during this show.
Yes, you
right.
do.
So who's the most sophisticated young person that appeals both to young and old?
But you need a comic or
right.
you need someone.
They did a
who's
little
used
one of
to
those things
doing
that Billy
hosting
Crystal did
live.
where they appeared in the beginning.
And they sung?
It was a movie. No, they did a little movie where they kept showing up in all the other films, all the nominated films, and that was actually was pretty good in that It was scripted, and all they had to do was act. They didn't have to improv. Joe, what you were saying about Billy Crystal, the year that Jack Palance did.
Oh yeah, one of the years that Billy Crystal was hosting, an old actor that you probably never heard of, named Jack Palance or Palance.
No clue.
Won at that year's Best Supporting Actor and got up on stage and did a bunch of one-armed push-ups.
He was in his 80s, and he did one-arm push-ups.
So, Billy Crystal, I mean, he mimed that bit through the entire show.
Oh,
every
funny.
time it started to drag,
He'd get down and do a
he'd get down
push-up.
and do a
That's
push-up.
funny.
Right, exactly.
Do you think Billy Crystal was the best host for that show?
One of the best I've
One of
ever
the best,
yeah,
right?
definitely.
Who else would you consider up there?
Carson was good.
Carson was
Carson
good.
did it many
Yeah.
years ago.
Carson was
was great. Someone was talking today. Carson came out, and when the show went long, he at one point, when there was a lull, brought out linoleum samples and was like, "So, which one do you think I should use in
That's
my kitchen?"
so
It was
funny.
it was great
Right, that's what you need. You need somebody who can do that.
because it's all it is an award show.
Yeah.
There's no
How interesting can you make it? Yeah.
right, exactly.
Right.
It,
Well, but
like
see,
I said,
now-
it's
and
going to
I
be a
disagree
bad
with-
show with good moments.
I disagree
at
with
best.
Phyllis. They used to have these really, really awful production numbers.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Okay?
Yeah.
Awful. I miss them. I do. Because they were awful. And we waited for them to be awful. Yes, they took up time, but they were wonderfully awful.
Well, this show can't be like the Grammys or the MTV Music Awards because yeah, you're right. All it is a award show. So how
Right.
good could it get unless somebody says something outrageous? And with the music shows, at least you could go to a live performance and say, you know what, that was a great performance. What are you going to do with?
You're going to show movie clips, and when you
Yeah.
show movie clips, they're always the middle of something.
Yeah.
So
It doesn't. You can't. How interesting can you make it? It's
Well,
it's an
actually-
uphill battle.
Actually, I think the movie clips. It's a show about movies. That's what they should focus on. They should focus on movie clips, famous movie clips, movie montages. You can put together a movie montage that's a work of art in and of itself.
I'm personally a big fan of the daytime Emmys. I'm a huge fan of that.
Look,
yeah.
take
Let
a
Chuck
look.
Woolery host
If you've
them.
ever
Hey.
watched, probably not, but if you've ever watched the Tony Awards,
Mm-hmm.
the Tony Awards manage to be entertaining.
Because they do performances.
Right.
Of course. You know what they should do? They should get up on stage and do a performance from like one of the major scenes.
You can't
That's
do
what they
that.
should do.
You can't do that.
'Cause
I
it's not
want to
the
see
same.
Terminator on stage.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
But
I want
wanna
to see
see-
Terminator the musical.
No,
Yeah.
okay.
I want to
that's-
see the people from like Little Woman performing Terminator.
That's
There you
what they
go.
used to do.
They used to do
in
stuff
the
like that.
production numbers.
Oh,
They
really?
were okay. Yes, like I remember distinctly the year that Romeo and Juliet came out. This is the 1967 version, okay? And they were nominated for Best Costumes. And they had, I think The Lion in Winter was the same year, a couple of period pieces. And they came out to this like psychedelic
Oh, my
Austin
God.
Powers music, and they were like fruging in these like, medieval costumes.
Yeah.
It was awful. It was so wonderfully awful.
Or they'd pick celebrity. The Oscars were always about. It was almost always celebrities who used to be someone as opposed to becoming someone. The year the best song, one of the best song nominees was "Live and Let Die" from a James Bond movie, and it was sung in the movie by Paul McCartney and Wings. They got Connie Stevens to do it.
Oh my god.
Oh, it was great.
That's horrible.
And
Oh, yeah.
wait a minute, even better. Against All Odds,
Oh, God.
the song was nominated, and the song is by Phil Collins. They got Anne Ranking, who's a dancer, a Broadway dancer, who has sung, but she's really a Broadway dancer. She sings, and one of the best ever is there's a camera shot of Phil Collins who looks absolutely like this.
I mean, horrified.
He looks horrified.
Horrified.
Great.
It's wonderful. It's just so wonderful.
No, that's
and-
brilliant.
What it is they've filtered out all the bad,
Oh,
and the
wait.
bad made it fun.
Rob Lowe singing with some chick dressed as Snow White to
And
open the show.
Yeah, it was great. It
And
was so
Rob Lowe
bad.
can't sing.
It was so bad, it was
wonderfully
good.
Awful.
I kind of liked last year's host. I thought
Hugh Jackman.
no, last year was
Hugh Jackman. I mean,
Steve
for someone who's
Steve
not a
Martin.
comedian, he was a good host. Because
Steve Martin's good, but
and
I
Alec
think
Baldwin, and and I liked it because together they didn't outdo each other. And by the way, they were the hosts of the Inception Dream movie that Anne Hathaway and James Franco were in last night.
Isn't Inception one of the worst movies ever?
oh my God,
Horrible, right?
horrible.
But anyone that liked Memento, Insomnia,
no.
or The Dark Knight, anyone that liked it goes, it's the greatest movie ever.
Wait
No,
a minute.
I
I
think-
liked Memento.
Did you?
Yes.
Okay.
I liked Memento, and I hated Inception.
Inception's one of the
You
worst
liked
movies
Memento
ever.
also.
Oh, Memento. Oh, I shouldn't say that anyone, but the people that sort of like every one of them liked this. Like Christopher Nolan's work is adored. He's like a god to people, and I think he has good stuff in him. But he's like
Memento was brilliant.
He's like
Inception was visually gorgeous.
By the way, I never saw Inception. I'm just making a assumption that it was horrible. I've never seen it.
You suck.
I've never seen it.
It's horrible. Don't say it. It gave me a headache. Visually, it's beautiful, and it deserved all the visual awards that it got.
Visual and set design,
Yes,
all those
it
things.
really
it
did.
Deserved.
It's visually beautiful, but the movie made absolutely no sense, and it gave me a headache.
It's like guys who write puzzles that they can't solve themselves.
But Memento was a good movie. Memento really was a good movie, and it made sense. It did. At the end, it made sense. You understood what happened.
I like movies where and it doesn't make sense, but that's most movies for me because I get drunk by the end and everything just becomes the same. It's just the same movie all over again.
You know, as somebody who's in the media, it really is incumbent upon you.
Don't want to go to the theater.
To
Don't want to go.
Then you should have them
what?
sent to you.
My
should have
eyes
them
are
sent
killing
to
me.
you.
My eyes are killing me. I think I have pink eye in both eyes. You
You're
want to
such
see?
a hypochondriac. No, I don't want to
Do you see my eyes are killing me? I have allergies
So if
somehow.
you have pink eyes and you go see the Smurfs movie, they'll be all purple.
It's going to be purple.
That's
no,
cool.
I have bad
It'll be
eye
Purple Rain.
allergies.
What does that have to do with going to the movies?
I feel because I went out this weekend,
Oh, Lord.
I got something. This
Where
is
did
why
you go?
I went out.
Where?
I don't remember, but I know I went somewhere.
You mean outside? Like
Outside, yeah.
in the air?
In the air. I went outside of the house. I went to go get the mail, and I can't see. My eyes are killing me.
Maybe it's because you're inside all the time.
No. There's smut and dirtiness out there.
Pollutants in the home are 10 times more likely than
Yes.
outside.
Not in my home. Long.
Concentrate. Yeah.
All those chemicals you use
You're
to
probably
clean?
overdosing on Windex.
Yeah.
I wish. You know what I did actually? I thought about spraying a little bit in my eye to like kill the bacteria.
Yeah, that's
Nice,
really
smart.
idea.
I thought about it. It passed through my mind for a split second.
There's not going to be much of your mind left to pass
Nothing.
through soon. Nothing.
Sick stuff.
So, what else is going on?
Oh, well, Charlie's in the news.
He's just fabulous, huh?
Charlie.
I've been saying he's my hero for the longest time, and now it all makes sense.
Charlie should
What,
be...
the fact that he's not really drunk, that he's actually been clean for 6 weeks? Have you heard the guy talking that? The guy that he talks to?
He called Alex Jones.
Yeah.
Alex Jones here for...
Alex Jones
Alex
was on The View this morning.
Yeah, he was on TV this morning.
Listen, nothing against Alex. I think he's very good at what he does. Do you know what he does?
No.
Alex Jones has a conspiracy show.
Oh, God.
But not like Art Bell and Coast to Coast. Not like Bigfoot and aliens abducting you. Like, what is it? Infowars.com, Alex Jones. 9/11 was an inside job. We have Jesse Ventura here. 9/11 truthmovement.org. Buy your deer jerky because
that's pretty much
everything
what
is going to be killed.
Did on The View.
Is that what he did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was completely obnoxious.
And I like listening to him. I do. I don't know why, because it just I enjoy hearing him because I think he's so out there sometimes. But he's harmless. You know, he's a harmless guy.
I think the ladies of The View had no idea that
No
he was
clue.
I don't think he's
because
harmless.
you could see Barbara Walters you could see it in
She
her
was
eye.
not
like,
amused.
This was a bad.
Barbara was not
idea.
amused at
This
all.
was a bad idea.
You know, aliens are lesbians who work for Al Qaeda. Stay tuned, Infowars.org.
But you realize that there are idiots out there who believe that
Well, if
crap.
you rearrange the letters of Osama bin Laden, It spells out lesbian nomad.
Does it?
Yep.
So first of all, I don't know.
work.
I don't know how Charlie Sheen is friends with Alex Jones. I think Charlie's is a truther. I'm not too sure if he's a truther or not.
Who?
A truther.
What's a truther?
They want the truth. But 9/11, because 9/11 was an inside job.
Oh.
There was formaldehyde in the tower and the beams had holes.
He does come from that wacky Sheen family.
Yeah.
His
So I think he's
father is
into
a bit
that.
of a political
And listen,
nut.
I'm all for hearing the other side, but to tell me that we did this, I can't believe that. And I think, and I figured it out, and I think Lon said it to me years ago, and I think you said this, and I hope you did.
Well, if it's brilliant, I did.
Yeah. It might have been you. You know what it was? The 9/11 show. When we did the 9/11 show, I think you said it to me before we went on the air. It's easier to believe that someone else is causing harm than it is to accept. I'm sorry, it's easier to believe that we are doing it and we're causing harm to ourselves than it is to accept that we're vulnerable and somebody else could do this to us.
I think that's one level of it. Yeah, I did say that.
I think that's
that's
the purpose
probably
of it.
part of
and
it.
I'm not getting into the mental illness and the craziness. I'm talking about the average person, the regular guy that believes this. I think it comes down to Alex Jones. First of all, the reason why he does it is because he knows there's money in it and it's interesting. And I think he's very good at what he does. Do I believe what he says? No. But he is interesting to listen to. It's like a movie. I will listen to him like as if it's my crazy uncle at Thanksgiving talking about whatever. But it's easier to believe that. And I think a lot of these people...
well, it's definitive.
It is.
It's definitive.
And Americans have this mentality where we're untouchable. Nobody could attack us. We're American. And it's obnoxious.
If they do, Pearl Harbor, we have a definition.
Yeah.
We go out, we drop a bomb on them.
Yeah.
It's over.
It's over. But we didn't do that. So the theories have to come up where Bush was involved and Cheney was in there and all this crazy stuff. And you have to imagine, okay, say what you want about George Bush. But there is no way this guy planned the death of 3,000 Americans on American soil by bringing down one of the key financial symbols of America.
I don't believe it.
I can't believe
that. It makes no sense.
Either if you're left or you're right, I can never not believe that.
Anybody with half a brain realizes that it doesn't make any sense.
And we're going to get a bunch of hate mail for this again, because every time we get into something like this, I get the emails, but I really don't care anymore. I honestly don't.
Because you know what?
The
universe is a constant, and the only thing that's different is our perspective on it.
I'm a New Yorker.
And no one's going to have the same perspective.
I'm a New Yorker. I saw the towers come down. You cannot tell me that this was an inside job. And I cannot accept it, and I've listened to it, and I've heard it, and the theories are all flawed. Steel does not melt. Well, it does. It crashes if the structure is damaged.
Right.
If you take a piece of it and it starts pancaking down, of course it's going to collapse.
Right.
And it's not that the steel melted, the steel weakened.
Right.
Ever watch the demolition shows?
It's
they knock buildings down all the time.
You know what? The Onion has something hysterical. The Onion has, and I should play it on the show, and I'll play it probably at the end of the show. It's, the Onion, they do fake stories. And they have a conspiracy theorist and a guy from Al-Qaeda. And the conspiracy theorist is saying that it was a demolition job and it was an inside job. And the Al-Qaeda guy is saying, no, it wasn't. I've heard this before. You're full of shit. We did this. And we did. He goes, yeah, two planes crash into it. Don't bring it down. But a demolition job, you'll accept. So it was really funny to see. But but back to what Alex does. Alex does a very interesting thing. And I guess Charlie Sheen is involved in that. He's all into it.
Well, yeah, his father's a conspiracy nut.
So
too.
Charlie is too.
Yeah, I guess he is.
And they're friends.
But I don't care if they're friends. His behavior has been so out of control.
Who, Charlie?
Yeah. And the fact that he has the fucking nerve.
Ooh, there we go.
To talk about a network that has given him
$2 million an episode.
So many freaking chances over and over again.
By the way, on I believe Thursday or Wednesday, I'm not sure. On Stepping Out this week, we have 3 Charlie Sheen mistresses on the show. So we'll actually find out a lot more about him.
I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
I mean, and then now he's carrying on that they've been abusing him.
Yeah.
They kept him on this show, paying him like $2 million an episode after he has constantly been like drunk, not showing up, carrying on, getting in trouble,
to keep
getting
their job?
Give me a fucking break.
You
Like
want to hear?
this-
You want to hear a clip of Charlie on Alex Jones?
Yeah, run it.
Let's see if I got it here. No, I don't have it. I'm sorry. I'll pull it up in a second. But you're right. Absolutely. I mean, he's looking for every excuse possible
And
to.
the other and the thing that makes me even more insane is that here's a guy. Okay, I might have some sympathy for. He clearly has a problem. He's got a disease, and I get that. All right, but he also accepts no responsibility for anything that he's done. And he is not, this is not some guy who had to work his way up to get where he is.
Yeah, his father was
Who had-
Martin Sheen.
Yeah, this is a guy who was born with a silver spoon in his mouth.
All right, here we go. Here's the clip. Here's bits and pieces of it.
How many more? Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iraq, incursions into many other countries. There's a big undeclared war.
How does he go from that to
Chuck
Charlie
Lorre.
Sheen?
All I've heard about him is that he's treated Charlie meanly over the years and blames everything on him when, let's face it, it's Charlie is the show. You know, other folks support it and make it up. But, you know, Charlie said, look, it's my hernia. Okay, I won't drink. I shouldn't do this stuff. I'm done. But don't sit there and come out and leak stuff in the news. This is what I privately heard Charlie talk about. Now he's publicly talked about it.
So, I mean, they're just going and blaming everybody but himself.
I love that everyone else that does the show merely supports it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But by the way, isn't that what alcoholics do?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly what they
And
do.
listen, there are a lot of people in recovering. They've cleaned up, and you
That
know
is
what?
exactly
All the
what they
credit
do.
to them, and it's amazing that they're able to get through it because it's a very difficult thing to battle.
Yes, it is.
But the first sign is you never accept that you have a problem and you blame everybody but yourself. And you know
Right.
what he said today? He said he's going to continue living the rock star life.
Yeah, that's what
and
he
he
said.
is not going to stop.
He makes no apologies
No
for it.
apologies.
In the meantime, this man is also a father.
Yeah.
He has 2 little children.
Yeah. But you know what? Those were the you have to remember when he was with Denise Richards, his career had kind of tanked at that point.
Yes, Korea was at a low.
And she kept him under control for whatever period of time. And then he went off the handle, and Brooke Mueller, it seems like she has more fuel to the fire because she went out with Charlie, Brie Olsen, the porn star, and the girlfriend. They all went on vacation together last week. They went to like some island. And this is the one who called the cops because he punched her.
Well, she wanted to party. She didn't want him to punch her.
Yeah.
But, I mean, seriously, I mean, at least to his credit, Robert Downey Jr. never blamed anybody
Yeah.
else for his
Yeah.
problems.
He was, I mean, he was screwed up, but he acknowledged that he was
He
screwed
totally
up.
acknowledged it. He never blamed it on anyone else. He never was abusive to other people in the media.
But you know what it is? I think with Charlie Sheen, I think the problem has been you kind of accept who Charlie. What else do you expect? It's Charlie Sheen. Yeah, he parties. He drinks a lot.
Yeah, okay.
He goes out. But that's, and I think so many people have said it to him. He feels that's who he's supposed to be.
That may
and
be,
he has
but
so many
that's-
people in his camp.
You know-
they based the character off his self-destructive behavior
That's
on the
exactly
show.
right.
So you know what? But here's the thing. He's going to get a payday from CBS because there is no moral clause in his contract. They cannot fire him because he showed up to work. And he always performed well on the set. So CBS is wrong for that. And he's going to get a huge payday because they cannot fire him because of moral behavior. There is no morals clause in his contract. So they are wrong in that.
Well,
they
they have not technically fired him.
No, the show's on hold.
The show's on hold.
But the rumors are that John Stamos is the person that they want to replace him with.
Oh, I love this. I love the rumors.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I heard
if
it
that's
was Rue
even,
McClanahan.
Yeah, really.
You're gonna bring her back
who
from the
knows if
grave.
that's even true?
CBS
But-
has asked John Stamos about replacing Charlie Sheen. Here we go. I worked with Charlie a long time ago, and I care about him very, very much. However, at this time, I'm unable to work efficiently as his publicist. Oh, the publicist resigned, too.
Charlie's publicist.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Because he's crazy.
Yeah.
He's crazy. He's out of control. You can't work with somebody like that.
Charlie slams the publicist after he quits. Let's see here. I have the... Guess what he said? Charlie is pissed of his former publicist Stan Rosenfield telling TMZ, "Pussy's not allowed to quit, so you're fired."
there you go.
This guy is my hero.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, what do you blame for this? I mean, he's a 50-something-year-old man. I think he should know by now how to behave and how to not behave.
I do think he has a disease. He's a substance abuser. Okay.
They said the substance abuse has turned to, he might have bipolar disorder. He might have some sort of...
That is entirely possible, and many substance abusers do.
Yeah.
Okay. He clearly has a problem. I don't know exactly what the problem is, whether he's bipolar or schizophrenic or whatever, but he clearly has a problem. He has a disease. However, his behavior has been allowed to get out of control because he keeps getting forgiven for it.
$2 million an episode. But they gave him that $2 million when that whole thing happened last time.
If he were playing,
Yep.
very honestly, if he were playing the Reverend
Charlie Sheen.
Charlie, they probably wouldn't have been as lenient. But it was just like, oh, you know what? This goes with it. And I think, you know what? I think there are people to blame on both sides.
But don't you think CBS has kind of fueled that
Yeah,
crazy
this is what I
Charlie
mean.
thing? Because
Yeah.
they hired him on his personality, which is really shitty.
Well, originally, when they first hired him, I think he was supposedly on the wagon at the time. He was, when they first hired him, I think, he was married, he was sort of on the wagon, he was making fun of himself.
Yeah.
Okay, which actually was it was a genius premise. He was making fun of his persona, but he went back to being that, and what he is in real life is way worse than the character that he plays on the show.
Yeah.
The character he plays on the show is at least coherent and doesn't get arrested periodically.
and has bouts of remorse.
But even
Yes,
that
and has
scene,
bouts of remorse.
yeah.
It doesn't beat people up.
He doesn't in real life. Even that scene where Capri Anderson, the porn star that he was out with, that locked herself in the bathroom and called the police.
Yeah.
You know what they were doing right before that happened? They went to
Yahtzee?
dinner. They went to dinner with the ex-wife.
Yeah. And
Isn't that a bizarre scene?
and the kids.
And the kids.
I know.
I mean, isn't that?
Bizarro? A little bit.
Like,
This is your aunt porn star?
yeah,
I mean, I don't know. Did she know that?
is this what happens when you become a celebrity? I mean, you get this whole weird and.
Well, you know what it is? It becomes an unreal world.
Yeah.
I think that's the same reason Lindsay Lohan behaves the way she does. Because it's like, doesn't everyone behave like this? Doesn't everyone just take what they people give me stuff all the time. I just figured they were going to give it to me anyway, kind of.
Well, I guess they're used to this whole weird relationship with people, because in Hollywood you could go and rip someone off and screw them and steal their role and do all these bad things to them, and then you'll see them in the nightclub and everybody kisses each other's ass because you don't know who you're going to work with tomorrow.
Well, that's true.
Right.
I think that exists, so everybody just keeps kissing and kissing.
that-
Why
is
I chose
true.
not to be a star.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. But a lot of people manage to stay out of it. A lot of people manage to stay out of it to a large extent. They do.
I want to continue the Charlie Sheen bonanza here on the GFK Network, but I would like to thank our sponsor, Hover.com.
Yeah.
Yay, Hover.
These guys are just amazing. I received an email from them, and they are doing a huge promotion here on the GFK Network. We got to keep it on the hush hush.
Okay.
It's only
That's
for
why we're announcing
GFQ.
it.
Yeah, they're not putting it anywhere on their website. This is exclusively for GFQ fans. I'm so confident in Hover. They're giving 10% off if you buy a domain name at Hover. You don't have to deal with the hassle of getting upsold and have these 1,000 pop-ups happen. And do you need this? Do you need that? You go for one thing and you go buy a domain. What they're doing now, which is amazing, no matter if you have 10 domains or you have 100,000 domains, nobody has 100,000, but let's say 1,000 domains. they were charging $25. You would call them up, and they would do all the work for you for $25. For GFQ fans, it's free. You don't have to pay them to transfer the domain. It's 100% free. You call them up and you say, hey, listen, I have these domains. They're at whatever service. I want to bring them over, and they'll do it for free. I mean, that's how amazing these people are, and they really want to bring GFQ members over to Hover. And I've told them, and I've brought over right now. I think I have a total. I have over 120 domains.
Wow.
Half of them are with Hover, and the half are with the other guys. Mm-hmm. And tomorrow I'm going to call them up, and I'm bringing everything over. I'm going all to Hover.
Go Hover.
Amazing. They're amazing guys. GFQ.hover.com. Use promo code GFQ upon checkout and get 10% off. Also, free domain transfers for GFQ fans.
Yay.
Yay.
Well, while we're going along this, we thought now we have a perfect way to balance the federal deficit.
Mm-hmm.
We should legalize marijuana and prostitution and tax Charlie Sheen to death.
Yeah.
That should pretty much clean it up.
That'll clean everything up.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
I think it's perfect.
He's something else, that guy.
He's a trip.
Oh, my God. I mean,
He is.
what do you think is going to happen?
What's going to happen is there's going to be some weird realm of support, like there is for everyone that's kind of an underdog.
But he's
in
a likable
way.
guy.
Right.
He's
the,
a likable
the likable
guy.
guyness in him will keep some people being really fans of him, and like the counterculture people will love him. The people that are running around saying seriously, he's my hero.
Yeah.
There are people.
What do you mean? I'm not serious about him being my hero? Is that what you're trying to
Yeah,
say?
Yes,
Andrew,
of course you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We would
Because I know
never
you would
think
conduct
that
yourself
about
the
you.
same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think at this point I think people are maybe fed up. The public is maybe fed up, and there may be a backlash, and it may really affect the show eventually. I think it might.
I can't wait till I'm so wealthy rich, I just don't care, and I have Vicodins falling out of my mouth,
Well,
and I'm
I think that's
drinking
where he
booze,
is.
and I'm on
I think
camera.
that's where he is.
And
Just
boy,
fall, every time I say
Right.
a word, it just keeps popping up like a
by
Pez
that
dispenser.
by that time you'll have like fired your cat
Yeah.
and divorced Jessica,
Yeah.
and like no one will be able to tell you what to do, and that's where he is. That's where Charlie Sheen is. He's at the point where no one can tell him what to do.
Because he's
And
paying so many people.
Yeah.
They're so terrified to tell him, Can you imagine one of his handlers says, Charlie, you're out of control, you're fired.
Right.
I mean, one of the things that if you go before all this mishigas, this craziness started, and what people said about 2.5 Men was that it was written really well. That it was a well-written show.
It was, yeah.
And it was.
It is. It's a
But
well-written
he's
show.
calling, saying, I turned this guy's tin can into a gold cup.
Yeah.
Like this guy's writing
He's
was
going
nothing.
to. I mean, at this point, he's offended so many people. I don't know how anyone would really want to work with him. I mean,
Oh, they'll work with him.
Did you hear the rumor? The rumor came out today that HBO wants to do a series of
Yeah.
10 episodes at $5 million an episode.
Well, they offered him, I think, $50 million, but I don't think they're going to do that.
But you know what? If that is a real deal, it's genius. You
Yeah.
know why? 10, you make your $50 million, you get Charlie at the crest of his infamy, and then you give it away.
Yeah. And what is it going to be? A reality show?
I have no
What would they
idea.
do? Well, look, I mean, name those people. You got Charlie Sheen, you got David Duchovny, which is the same type of guy. You got Baldwin.
Sorry.
Right?
Someone in the room went, "You can't fire me. I fire me."
Well, no, David Duchovny.
Same type. Yeah, but he's that addictive personality, and he's had drug problems.
But I don't recall his ever
ranting about his co-stars.
No, but he
about
does.
his
He plays his
co-stars
character too.
Oh yeah.
In Californication, he plays himself.
Right.
Yeah,
He's-
basically.
He's acting through his addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what Charlie was.
Well,
They just decided that the addiction was pretty good.
He kind of it was a sex addiction, and I think it was more
addiction.
More of a. But I think it was more of a personal.
See, you have to look like David Duchovny to have a sex
Yeah.
addiction.
That's true.
You never see it's like, Vern Troyer walking around going, I have a sex addiction.
Yeah, well, he may, but he's not.
Guy resembles Nosferatu walking around going, "Oh, I'm a sex addict."
But he, yeah, but I mean, we haven't heard anything about him getting arrested.
No.
In, hotel rooms.
But I mean, the stories are there with the partying and the alleged drugs and the women. I mean, it's been there.
Yes, it's been there, but not to the same extent.
No.
Not to the same
Well,
extent.
think about it. I mean, Charlie Sheen just turned upside down last year, right? It just started. I mean, for you, we didn't hear about this about him. We were just a little bit self-destructive.
No, but we always knew.
But he was a party boy.
He was
Yeah.
a party boy. I mean, his obsession with hookers is legendary.
Yeah.
Well, right back to Heidi Fleiss.
Right, exactly.
Well,
Back
yeah,
to
he was
Heidi
Heidi-
Fleiss. He was her main client.
Yeah. Yeah.
He personally supported her business.
Yeah, with Heidi.
So I mean, this is not new with him.
I was talking about that on the air, and I said, I told a story about a friend of mine, which is very wealthy. He's in finance. Very wealthy guy.
You have friends?
I do. Some.
Interesting.
I call them friends. They call me enemies.
But
okay.
you get rich enough, you're going to fire him.
And he would come over to parties. We had parties here, and he comes over, and he would have a beautiful girl with him, and he would introduce them as his girlfriend, and it was always a new girl,
Right.
and he would rent them for the weekend.
Okay.
He was hiring, escorts, and he would go to the party, and then they go to, the Borgata Hotel. They go to take a limo, and they go to Las Vegas, Atlantic City. They have a great weekend, and then she would go, pay her like $1,200, $1,500, and there you
Right.
go. They had a great time,
Right.
and that's what he would do all the time. I mean, it was like a monthly thing for him. He would have girlfriends in between, but when he didn't have a girlfriend, he would rent one.
Well, I mean, I
Nothing wrong with that.
I don't have a problem with that.
And he would justify it like this. He would say, okay, I'm
As
just
long as
cutting. I'm cutting a lot of the legwork out because I could find a girl and I could go to a bar and meet them, but I'm just looking to have,
And you'd end
a
up
companion
spending that
for
kind of
week.
money
Yeah.
anyway.
Anyway, so he goes, listen, all I'm doing is I'm cutting it.
I'm guaranteeing the
I'm
sex.
guaranteeing the sex.
Right.
And I'm picking a beautiful girl, and they were always smart. Nobody was a bimbo, just really sophisticated, beautiful women, always.
I have no problem with that as long as the women are of age. And
She was 5. That's the part I'm not telling you about.
oh, see, there we have a
Yeah,
problem.
but man, she looked like 7.
She looked like 7. But
As long as they're of legal age and of consent, then I don't have a problem.
and I
with
always
that.
found, and I always said to myself, I'm like, you know what? I was like, wow, isn't that weird? Why would we do that? And I was thinking about it, and I said, it's not.
think it's weird, but I don't. I mean, I think if somebody wants to do that, it's a prerogative.
He said it like this. He goes, if I went to a bar and I screamed, I will pay $1,400 for a girl to have an unbelievable weekend with me. We're gonna take a limo to a 4-star hotel. I'm gonna get you manicures and I'm gonna get you a spa package. They would all line up.
Of course.
So that's pretty much what I'm doing. I'm saying, hey, listen, this is my type. This is what I like. I want to go out and I want to, make sure I have a friend. And he said sometimes they don't even sleep together. If he doesn't feel comfortable with it, he won't sleep with them. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, so there's nothing wrong with what he's doing.
No,
But when
no.
you go in and you're picking up some, in Red Hook, that's a little.
Well, yeah. And when you have parties that involve numerous women
Are you talking about the Charlie Sheen parties?
and drugs
Yeah.
and going on for days and days and days, and God knows what else goes on at those
That's.
parties.
But there are people. Have you ever noticed that if somebody was an addict, then and I have many friends that have addictions. They're addicts. They go from one thing to another. So when they clean up, it never ends. It's almost like a form of OCD.
Mm-hmm.
So when they stop the pills, they'll drink a lot of soda. When they stop drinking
that's true.
soda,
That's
they'll
true.
always have a toothpick.
Yeah, that's true.
When they stop the toothpick,
Well, do you
they'll
know-
start flossing.
Yeah.
Do you know how
It's
many?
always something.
Well, a lot of 12-step programs just talk about replacement addictions.
Yeah, but
do you know how many runners
Yeah.
are former
I was
addicts?
going to say that. Yeah, a lot of former addicts are runners.
Well,
Runners,
I don't know.
cyclists.
Yeah.
I don't know how much if you'll recognize the name, but you know who Jerry Bruckheimer is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay. His
Oh, finally, Andrew
I do
knows
know.
someone.
I do know Jared.
okay.
Bruckheimer.
He's been around a long time. His original partner, who was named Don Simpson,
Mm-hmm.
they did a lot of those big movies back like in the 80s together. Okay?
Yeah.
Dom Simpson is no longer with us. He was a notorious partier, but he also became very addicted to various drugs. And he started getting into the more, like, it became more and more excess. So at first it was just a hooker, then it was a couple of hookers a night, then it was a group of hookers, and then he started needing to beat them.
Yeah.
And then he started needing to beat them badly and do really.
Then they had to be dressed as pilgrims.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah. No, he was really crazy. He became really crazy.
It's like replacing.
Really crazy.
I mean, when you hear about it, it's replacing one addiction with another. Just one is not as bad.
Right.
You know, there's
One is
a
more
lot.
socially acceptable.
Well, if you're
Yeah.
addicted to running, you're not hurting anyone.
You're not, but you're still not getting over an addiction. There's still the core of the problem is still there.
Right, but addictive personalities
Are always
never,
addictive personalities.
Yeah, when they say someone's an alcoholic, it's no one ever says I used to be an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Someone who is an alcoholic, hasn't had a drink in 20 years, will say I'm an alcoholic, because what they're saying is I have a proclivity for the behavior.
But we're a society that loves labels. You also have to put that into consideration.
But alcoholics were calling themselves that long before the labeling society. You were an alcoholic once you accepted that you were an alcoholic.
Well, they said it's a chemical thing in the brain, right? For addictive personalities.
Yes, it is.
It's an
is.
imbalancement.
Yeah, it is. It's genetic, and some people have it more than others. In some people, it's very strong. If you have a real addictive personality, you're gonna end up addicted to something most likely, unless you're really
always
careful.
said Joe used to smoke, and I've always said that she was more an a habitual smoker than an addictive smoker, because when she quit, she didn't go through withdrawals.
Me either.
No.
Yeah.
Me either. I you know how I stopped? Just overnight. And I'll still have a cigarette every now and then. Once every couple months.
I won't touch them.
And I feel that if I told myself you are not allowed to have this ever again, I'd want to have it. So I said to myself, you know what, Andrew? It's way too cold to go smoke outside. I don't want to smoke inside.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to make the house smell. And I never had that, oh my God, I need a cigarette right now. I've never had that. And I smoked from 14 years old all the way to 22, consistently every day.
I smoked for, I smoked from the time I was like, well, I started smoking on and off when I was a teenager, but I mean very occasionally. I really started smoking regularly when I was about 19.
So 16 to 22, I smoked regularly. I bought packs and I smoked constantly.
19 to like 34, 35.
Oh, really? You smoked for a while.
Yep. And
you just stopped.
A good pack and a half a day.
And you're not a smoker. How did you?
I went to I went to a hypnotist, actually.
Really? Do you think it helped?
Yeah, I absolutely did. It did.
No way.
Well,
yeah.
The thing that they've always said about hypnotism is if you wanted to,
yeah.
I was ready. I was ready. I think
you're-
it gave me the extra
if
kick.
you're at the hypnotist because someone said it'll help.
Yeah, it won't
Okay,
help.
so let me ask you, because I've always been curious about this. Do you feel that the hypnotist is just an add-on, more like a assurance that you could stop? So you wanted to stop, so you went to a hypnotist, and
I think it helped. I think it
you
helped.
think there's something about the
You know what hypnotism
Yes.
gives you? I think it gives you kind of a focus outside of yourself.
Huh.
No.
So let me ask you, did you feel under the spell? Like, did you get that?
Oh, I've been hypnotized actually many
And
times.
it worked. And you honestly could tell me right now that
Oh.
you were in a trance.
Without a doubt.
Oh yeah, she goes out deep.
Without a doubt. I will tell you what happened when I got hypnotized for the smoking. I went to adult education, not even privately. I went to an adult ed class, okay, at a local high school. And the first week he talked to us about our smoking habits and whatever. And then he hypnotized the class. And while we were under, he gave us like hypnotic suggestions that when I feel the need for a cigarette, I will get up and take a walk, or I will, I do not need, that kind of thing. Then he gave us a tape that hypnotized you, and you're
But
supposed
he
to play
didn't
it.
even do it. A tape did it.
Well, no. He did the hypnosis while we were there, but he sent you home with a tape,
Okay.
and every night you're supposed to play the tape.
While you're sleeping.
No, not while you're sleeping.
Okay.
It's a self-hypnosis tape.
So what would it say?
It puts you into the hypnotic state, and then it says, I do not, I value my health, or I value my health too much to ruin my body, and things like that.
Okay.
And then we went back a second time, and the second night, he hypnotized us only halfway,
Okay.
so that we were we were conscious, like our eyes were open, but we were hypnotized so that we couldn't really move. So I remember sitting in the classroom, sitting in a desk, and I was sitting like this,
Okay.
and I couldn't move, and he played us this movie, really graphic movie of what smoking does to your body, all these horrible things it does to your body. And I remember not wanting to look at it because it was so gross, but I couldn't shut my eyes because I was hypnotized. I was
Wow.
like this. But I was hypnotized to lose weight. I've been hypnotized for past life regression.
What was that?
I was hypnotized to lose weight. I was
Okay.
hypnotized for a past life regression.
Okay.
But
you believe in those things.
Yeah.
Barbara came. You believe that she is
Yes.
able to.
Yes, I do. But Barbara's never hypnotized me.
No. I've
Hypnosis
I'm a
is a very
skeptic.
different
I'm
thing.
a skeptic when it comes to it. I really want a science behind it, and I've heard people
Well, there
that are
actually
not.
is a science behind hypnosis.
I know people that have done it that have said it changed their lives, and I know one guy, he was an out of control personality. Just really all over the place, and his life wasn't together, and he wasn't a drug addict or an alcoholic or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
He had no direction. He had no idea. And he was one of those guys that went to college, and he went to a really good school too. And he came back, and he just never did anything because he just didn't have that drive.
Right.
He got hypnotized, and the guy is really well off, and he's married, and he's doing really well. And he says that hypnosis changed his life.
It can. It's a very interesting experience, but it's not what you think of, like what you see in the movies when people are hypnotized.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that. You are aware of your surroundings. You're not unaware
It doesn't
of your
look like what it
surroundings.
looks like in the movies.
No.
Yeah.
No. Like if I were hypnotized right now, I would still know that you were in the room. I would hear him typing.
Yeah.
Or I would.
Are you? So if you're under, and I took a bell and I started banging it, would you get out? Would you?
You might. You might.
I want to bring a hypnotist on the air, and I want them to hypnotize me.
I will tell you a very interesting thing, okay? I am a very easy hypnotic subject. I go under like that,
Okay.
I had been hypnotized numerous times, and I went to a new person who hypnotized me, and afterwards he said to me, he said, wow. He said, I was going slow because you were new to you were a new client to me, and I didn't really know. Everybody goes at a different pace.
Mm-hmm.
He said, you went right out. And I said, yeah, I do. But one day, and he had hypnotized me several times, and I mean, when he hypnotized me, I was under for an hour and a half, 2 hours. All right.
Wow.
One day, I told you that I am adopted, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know anything about the first 10 months of my life.
Yeah.
I don't really know much. So I asked him to hypnotize me back to that period of my life.
Okay.
Okay? Couldn't do it. Every time we would regress me in age. I'd get younger. He'd get to that point, I would wake up. He could not get me to stay under. And I normally go under.
See,
like that.
I really wonder how much of it is that you're going along with it. You know what I mean? I think you kind of feel like you have to do it. I think a lot of it also has to do with that.
Well, you have to be receptive. If you're not receptive,
yeah.
they can't hypnotize you. You
I
have
don't
to be
know.
receptive.
I would love to try it because then I could say for myself, you know what, this really worked or it didn't work.
It's actually a very nice experience. It's very relaxing.
When I had it done,
Did
I
it
thought
work?
yes, but
It's really a very
kind of to the
pleasant
point that I
experience.
didn't realize how deeply I was under.
Yeah, you
Because
don't.
I'm doing it, and part of me is thinking, this isn't working at all.
Right.
Part of me is thinking that, and the other part is going, yes, and like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
I had a friend of ours hypnotize me, and our friend Betty, and I frightened her because
She went somewhere and wouldn't come back.
I wouldn't come back. I was having such a wonderful time in my hypnosis. In my mind, I was flying.
So what if I took you and I shook you? Would you wake up? Or would something break? That's the thing I fear. Like I would.
You've been watching Inception too much.
Yeah.
I feel like I would go under and something would totally break and I would not be the person I am now.
I think
No.
most people have real just misconceptions about it.
No, nothing breaks.
Like I don't want to be fixed. I think I'm perfect. One thing I would like to do is
well, you
be
can just,
able to execute things better. I'm a massive multitasker. Mm-hmm. So what'll happen? In order for me to do something, I need 15 things going on. I do much better under pressure. So if you tell me, Andrew, there's a deadline for this, you have to call Hover, you have to call Zone, and you need to post all the shows, I could bang them out. Boom, 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 boom.
Mm-hmm.
If I have one thing to do, can't do it. Can't physically get myself to do it. I need massive amounts of chaos for me to perform well. I do better on shows. Like if I had a horrible day, I do a lot better on that show. Like today was a chaotic day, so I feel like I was able to do a lot better on the show. The days that I'm coasting and I'm fine, I can't do it. I would love to be able to execute things in a different manner.
Generally, what someone who's working with you will do is at first they'll just hypnotize you, and just to see if they can.
Do they know if you're faking it? Can they tell?
I think a lot of time. I mean, I guess you could fake it, but I think they're pretty good at picking it up. What they'll ask you to do something really simple, like they'll say,
Cluck.
No, they don't. Not stupid stuff like that. But they'll say, like, imagine that you have imagine there's a balloon attached to your finger, and the balloon takes off, and it brings your arm with it.
Yeah.
You know, so you're like lifting your arm, kind of thing. They want to see if you'll respond to the suggestions. They'll just give you silly things like that to do to see.
I would get my imaginary scissor and cut it. That's what I would do.
No, you
There's
might.
a balloon and it's gonna lift your finger.
Well, that
okay.
would mean that you didn't want to do it to begin with.
Right.
Yeah.
See, you won't do anything under hypnosis
That you wouldn't do.
that you wouldn't
That
do.
you wouldn't do. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
if you
Someone said this would be great to pick up chicks. It's like, unless that chick was going to go with you anyway,
You're not picking them
Yeah.
you're
up.
not picking them up under hypnosis either.
Yeah, it's that's really a misconception that people have. If somebody gives you a hypnotic suggestion that really like goes against your ethics or something, you will not do
Yeah.
it.
Okay. That's really interesting stuff. I want to get a hypnotist in here.
You should.
I should find one. I don't know where to find them. Someone good. Do you know anyone?
I don't know if the guy that I did go to is still around.
Is he in prison?
He might be.
He might be in
Oh,
prison.
really?
He might be in prison,
Yeah.
but not for that.
Not for hypnosis.
Not for
He
that.
did hypnosis right.
Obviously, racketeering.
He just did a multi-level marketing thing really badly.
Yeah. The hypnosis thing.
They're not pyramid schemes. That's an illegal thing to call them. You will be. You know, if you call them a pyramid scheme, they could sue you. That's like a horrible accusation. They call them multi-level marketing and something else too. I forgot the other term.
Yeah, because it's pyramid schemes.
Did
are
he make a
against the
ton
law.
of money? Did he make a ton of money?
He made money for a while.
Yeah.
I think he did. Yeah.
I know a guy
But
that
you know
was
what?
making a
I
killing
think
too.
I actually think he really believed in the stuff that he was selling.
Yeah.
I think he did. I think he believed in it. I think he was
And
really sort of.
It's like I talked about this before, and I constantly come back to
By
this.
the way, Lon, I
Like,
find it
all this-
brilliant that your hypnotist is in jail for multi-level marketing.
Yeah.
I think that's the best part of the story. Did you?
He was on the
happen to
news.
Join?
He was like on 60 Minutes or something. It was like
he was on.
It was huge, or
yeah,
2020 or
yeah.
Oh,
something.
that's brilliant.
Yeah.
It had a number in it. 21 Jump Street. I'm not sure.
Oh my God. Let's wrap it up, guys. Oh my God. Lon, anything to promote?
Yeah. Okay.
I see
Today's
you've been doing a lot online.
28th day of February. Tomorrow we go into March. March, I start a campaign to raise the money that I need to ride the AIDS life cycle, which I am not doing in California. I am doing on my own in New York. I'm riding all 545 miles within 10 miles of my house. I've invited a contingent of the New York cyclists who will be going out there a month later. I'm going to be doing the ride May 1st through May 7th. But I am collecting those funds now. And if you go to my Facebook page, every other post that I have is about this, because I've already raised $752.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. That's before the campaign began. So right now I need $4,223 more. No, $4,248 more.
You're getting my donation tomorrow.
Okay. The money doesn't go to me. The money goes to an organization straight off. It's 100% tax deductible. The link is on my Facebook page. Friend me up. Actually, you don't even have to friend me up, I don't think. You can go to www.tofight.hiv.org. My name, you can search for my name, or you can look for my rider number, which is 6233. I have that going. I have a couple of actually working on some sponsors myself, Andrew.
That's
you get them
excellent.
for the station. I'm working on some. I'm also starting my Alzheimer's rides because, I just don't ride a bike enough. And I'm looking for support there as well.
How's the training been going? Are you getting back into the swing of things? Or
Yeah, well, as the thaw comes, now that I have, we can actually see the streets, I'll be out there.
Excellent.
So that's what I'm doing. So go to my Facebook page and sign up and on. Okay. What I'm looking for is 843 people to give me $5.
That's not much.
I would love one person to give me $5,000, but that doesn't happen. So $5. That's it. That's all I'm asking for, and I'm not asking for it.
I'll put. You know what I'll do? I'll put a thing on the website for it.
Good enough.
Just if you can write something up, and I'll post it tomorrow. And that's about it for today. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I had a lot of fun. And we'll see you all next week. Good night, everybody.
Good night, folks.